What if everything you learned in history class was just the beginning? What if humanity's story stretches back, not thousands, but tens of thousands of years further than we thought? What if ancient myths of global floods, lost cities, and sky gods are actually distant memories of a forgotten epoch? This is the world of Graham Hancock, a journalist, a storyteller, and a man who's spent over 3 decades asking the question, have we truly remembered who we are? Mainstream archaeologists call him a pseudoscientist. Millions of readers call him a visionary. Netflix calls him a documentary host. Whether you see him as a rebel truth seeker or a modern myth maker, there's no denying one thing. Graham Hancock has changed how we talk about history. In this video, we'll go over some of his biggest ideas, a brief introduction to his most talked about books, and the controversial Netflix series that brought him global fame and outrage. Before we start, I want to say thank you from the bottom of our hearts for watching one of our first videos. If you enjoyed it, please consider liking and subscribing. We promise to improve with every video we upload. Now, let's get to it. Before he became a household name for challenging our understanding of ancient history, Graham Hancock walked a very different path. Born in Edinburgh, Scotland in 1950, his early years took him far from the misty Scottish Highlands to the vibrant landscapes of India, where his father worked as a surgeon. Returning to the UK, Hancock honed his intellect, graduating from Durham University in 1973 with a top degree in sociology. But it was the world of words, of uncovering truths and telling stories that truly called to him. He plunged into journalism, a career that would see him writing for some of Britain's most respected newspapers, including The Times, The Sunday Times, and The Guardian. He wasn't just a reporter, he was an editor too, helping shape the pages of New Internationalist magazine, and his investigative spirit even took him across continents as the East Africa correspondent for The Economist. Hancock's early books weren't about lost civilizations or forgotten wisdom. They were grounded in the pressing issues of his time. From exploring the vibrant culture of Pakistan to shedding light on the challenges faced by Ethiopia, he tackled subjects like hunger and the devastating impact of AIDS. One of his most impactful early works, Lords of Poverty, published in 1989, was a searing expose, pulling back the curtain on the complex and sometimes controversial world of international aid. It was in 1992, with his book The Sign and the Seal, that we began to see the first hints of the Graham Hancock many know today. His quest for the lost Ark of the Covenant marked a turning point, a step away from traditional journalism and into the realm of ancient mysteries. Hancock's central thesis is bold. An advanced Ice Age civilization once spanned the globe, far older than Mesopotamia, Egypt, or the Indus Valley. This civilization, wiped out by a global cataclysm around 12,800 years ago, left behind myths, monuments, and a scattered trail of knowledge. He doesn't claim to be an archaeologist, but he insists that we've ignored, dismissed, or outright buried the truth about our ancient origins. His critics say he's twisting facts, but his supporters say he's asking the questions no one else dares to. Published in 1995, Fingerprints of the Gods catapulted Hancock into the global spotlight. Part travelogue, part detective story, the book takes readers from Egypt to Bolivia, from ancient myths to modern satellite scans. He begins with a puzzle. Why do so many ancient cultures, from the Egyptians to the Maya, speak of a golden age destroyed in a great flood? He suggests these stories are not fiction but cultural memory. Survivors of a lost civilization passed on their knowledge to hunter-gatherers, who became the founders of later-known cultures. He examines the Great Pyramid's mathematical precision, Tiwanaku's solstice alignments, and the Piri Reis map, which some claim shows Antarctica before it was covered in ice. Academic critics were swift. Selective evidence, they said. Flawed interpretations. But readers were fascinated. Fingerprints of the Gods sold millions and sparked a global movement of alternative history fans. Co-written with Robert Bauval, Message of the Sphinx focuses on the Giza Plateau in Egypt. At the heart of the argument, water erosion on the body of the Sphinx. If the damage was caused by heavy rainfall, as geologist Robert Schoch suggested, then the statue must be thousands of years older than Egypt's dynastic period. Combine that with the Orion correlation theory, where the pyramids align with Orion's belt as it appeared in 10,500 BCE, and you have a shocking hypothesis. that the monuments are far older than mainstream archaeologists admit. They argue that Giza encodes messages in astronomy, math, and myth. In Egyptian tradition, the first time, Zep Tepi, was a golden age when gods walked the earth. Hancock asks, what if that was history, not myth? In 1998, Graham publishes his 13th book named Heaven's Mirror, in which he expands the mystery globally. With photographer Santa Faya, he visits sacred sites from Easter Island to Angkor Wat, searching for common threads. One such thread, stellar alignments. These monuments, he argues, are not just temples or tombs. They are observatories. They track the stars, particularly those involved in the precession of the equinoxes. Precession is a slow wobble in Earth's axis, taking over 25,000 years to complete. Why would ancient peoples track something so subtle, so slow, unless they inherited the knowledge? Hancock points to a unified legacy, an ancient science encoded in stone, passed down from a vanished civilization. In Underworld, published in 2002, Hancock takes his exploration underwater. He investigates submerged ruins off the coasts of India, Japan, and the Bahamas. At Dwarka, he examines stone structures beneath the waves. At Yonaguni, he dives to photograph a giant, stepped monument that some claim is man-made. He connects these discoveries to the global sea level rise that followed the last ice age. Between 13,000 and 8,000 years ago, melting glaciers raised ocean levels by over 400 feet, drowning coastal settlements. Could these underwater sites be the cities of ancient flood legends? Are they Atlantis by another name? Mainstream archaeologists call these natural formations. Hancock disagrees, and he has the sonar scans to back it up. 3 years after the release of Underworld in 2005, Hancock took an unexpected turn with Supernatural, a book about consciousness, cave art, and spirit realms. Why do Paleolithic cave paintings, some over 30,000 years old, contain bizarre visionary images? Why do they so often feature hybrid beings, part animal, part human? Hancock suggests these aren't just drawings, they're records of shamanic visions, altered states induced by naturally occurring psychedelics like DMT. He draws on modern studies of ayahuasca ceremonies and ancient tribal rituals, arguing that religion, myth, and even language may have their roots in the psychedelic experience. It's a mind-bending theory, and one that brings Hancock closer to the metaphysical than ever before. 20 years after Fingerprints, Hancock returned with Magicians of the Gods, a sequel fortified with new science. This time, he anchors his cataclysm theory to the Younger Dryas impact hypothesis. Around 12,800 years ago, a swarm of comet fragments may have struck Earth, triggering rapid climate shifts, fires, and flooding. Hancock ties this event to the global flood myths and the disappearance of his lost civilization. He focuses on Gobekli Tepe, a site in Turkey dated to 9600 BCE. Its intricate carvings, megaliths, and symbolic art appear out of nowhere, built by a supposedly primitive society. Could it be the work of survivors? Magicians? Preserving lost knowledge? Mainstream scholars say no. But Hancock argues that Gobekli Tepe is the smoking gun that changes everything. Next up is America Before. Written in 2019, Hancock challenges the dominant story of how the Americas were populated. For decades, the Clovis First theory held that the Americas were first settled around 13,000 years ago, but new discoveries, from ancient footprints to DNA studies, suggest people arrived much earlier. Hancock explores ancient mound sites like Poverty Point and Serpent Mound. He highlights terra preta, an engineered soil found in the Amazon, evidence, he says, of long-lost urban societies. He argues that the Americas may have been home to advanced cultures that predate Egypt or Sumer, and that we're only now beginning to uncover their ruins beneath jungle and soil. In 2022, Hancock brought his ideas to Netflix in Ancient Apocalypse. The 8-episode docuseries takes viewers to sites around the world, from Gunung Padang in Indonesia to the Bimini Road in the Bahamas. With dramatic music, sweeping drone shots, and Hancock's signature narration, the series makes a case that ancient structures encode astronomical knowledge and post-cataclysmic wisdom. The public responded with fascination. The show shot to Netflix's top 10, but the academic world hit back hard. Articles called it dangerous, disingenuous, even a conspiracy against truth. Hancock fired back. "I'm not against science," he said. "I'm against arrogance, and I'm asking inconvenient questions." So, who is Graham Hancock? A rogue scholar? A visionary? A master of speculation? His work may not always follow academic standards, but it undeniably inspires curiosity. He asks us to look again at the world's oldest mysteries, to see the Sphinx not as just a statue, but as a message. To view myths not as fiction, but as fractured memories. Maybe he's wrong. Maybe he's partially right. Or maybe, just maybe, he's remembered something the rest of us forgot. Because sometimes the further we go into our past, the closer we get to our future. This video briefly covered some of Graham's most popular books. He's written at least 26 books in total. If this sparked your curiosity, or if you would like a particular book of his delved into even deeper, let us know in the comments section. Thanks for watching.